Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Bold and beautiful Steffi just hit the self-destruct button on her own marriage. Plus, our Hope and Thomas Endgame. It was a hit and miss week for Bold and Beautiful thanks to a decent twist most of us saw coming. Proof positive that Thomas and his women are in for a heck of a ride, and some wildly repetitive dialogue. Lots to talk about, so let's dive in. Let's just get this out of the way right up front. The odds of Thomas/Paris still being a thing a year from now are right up there with those of Quinn returning to reignite her short-lived affair with Liam. Remember that wild story which Scott Clifton ranks as one of his favorites so far. But of course Thomas/Hope fans want their faves together, and they want it to happen right this minute. Despite that being the least dramatic option possible. Years ago, I was talking to a big wig at NBC about their supernatural censor, Passions. Fans were furious because long-estranged lovers Lewis and Sheridan had been pulled apart by yet another cruel twist of fate, with many of those viewers vowing never to watch again. I love when people swear they won't watch unless their favorite couple reunites, the exec said. That's a viewer who is invested and won't ever give up. Soaps are all about delayed gratification. Fans should be careful what they wish for, because on soaps in general, and this show in particular, a happy couple is the kiss of death. Ask Wyatt and Flo, or Donna and a post-health crisis Eric. Heck, ask Brooke and Ridge, who've been reduced to talk to characters for everyone else since their latest reunion. My all-time favorite primetime soap was Knots Landing. I was never a huge Gary/Val fan, but it was pretty clear they were the root for couple. Over the show's 14-season run, however, they were rarely together. And yet every single time one walked into the room, the other couldn't help but look their way longingly or take in a sharp breath, as if to say, that is my person, even if only I know it. To me, that's good soap. Couples you want to see together who aren't actually able to be with one another for whatever reason. Every now and then they have a stolen moment which might, if they're lucky, last a while. But sooner or later, another problem comes up, tearing them apart once again. In this case, Paris is the speed bump on Thomas and Hope's road to happiness. The only real question is whether Finn will become one too. Every single time Brooke says Hope can't have feelings for Steffi's husband, it's as if the writers are telling us that's exactly where things are going. And as we'll explain in a moment, we now know exactly how the show will get from point A to point B. Another one bites the dust. I don't think many viewers were surprised by Hollis' death. Nearly a week ago, the show revealed that someone would be dying, so when Hollis repeatedly asked, "Gee, doesn't it seem weird the way Tom died?" it seemed pretty clear his name would soon be etched on a tombstone. What Hollis' death promises to do is amp up the already tense situation between Finn, Steffi, and Hope. Because Steffi, who on Friday called the police to suggest maybe Shyla might have something to do with Tom's death, despite nobody suspecting its murder, will clearly do the same thing now that Hollis is dead. Despite Finn's promise to put his wife first, something tells us he won't take well to Steffi calling his mom a killer, which she is, whether guilty this time or not. Cue Finn once again confiding in Hope, who is dealing with Thomas and Douglas' latest departure, and, yep, this is gonna get even messier. That said, I don't understand why Thomas, Paris, and Douglas were rushed off the canvas so quickly. How do you play the longing between Thomas and Hope if he's not there? And if we're to be invested in even the idea of Paris and Thomas, we need to see more of them as a couple, so it's definitely in the show's best interest to bring the trio back ASAP. I really want the show to throw attentive viewers a bone by having Paris admit to Finn that there was a time when she crushed on him. Asterisk fun having Thomas refer to the Speedo's dad Ridge or years and years ago. Asterisk I don't even know what to make of the man formerly known as Dollar Bill Spencer. I don't recognize this mushball who does nothing but gush about his new family, while taking them again and again to a pizza joint run by a man he can't stand whose wife tried to kill Poppy's sister and nephew. In the glimmering world of Los Angeles, where the Forrester and Logan families weave a tapestry of intrigue, love, and betrayal, the lives of its denizens unravel in unexpected ways. The Bold and the Beautiful has always been a saga of high stakes and intense emotions, and this time, the spotlight is firmly on Steffy Forrester. Steffy, a woman of strength and vulnerability, has always walked the fine line between triumph and turmoil. Her marriage to Dr. John Finn Finnegan seemed like a beacon of hope, a chance for stability and happiness. In the ever-turbulent seas of soap opera romance, calm waters are often the prelude to a storm. Steffy's journey to self-destruction began innocuously enough. A small seed of doubt, nurtured by past traumas and insecurities, grew into a thorny vine, wrapping itself around her heart. Finn, the steadfast and loving husband, could sense the growing distance, but his reassurances fell on deaf ears. Steffy's eyes, once filled with love and trust, now mirrored a deep internal conflict. It started with her old flame, Liam Spencer. Despite their tumultuous history, Liam and Steffy shared a bond that neither could fully sever. Liam, ever the conflicted soul, found himself drawn back into Steffy's orbit. He was married to Hope, but the gravitational pull of his past with Steffy was undeniable. Late-night conversations, filled with memories and what-ifs, rekindled a spark that should have remained extinguished. Finn noticed the change. He wasn't oblivious to the clandestine meetings or the lingering glances. His attempts to confront Steffy were met with deflection and anger. The more he tried to bridge the gap, the wider it became. Steffy, caught in the throes of her own confusion, couldn't see the damage she was inflicting on her marriage. She was caught between two worlds: the safety of Finn's unwavering love and the dangerous allure of her history with Liam. The breaking point came one fateful evening. Steffy, lost in a haze of wine and regret, found herself at the Cliff House, the place where so many pivotal moments of her life had unfolded. Liam, drawn by some unseen force, arrived shortly after. The air was thick with tension and unspoken words. They argued, passions flared, and in a moment of weakness, they kissed. It was a kiss that carried the weight of their shared past and the potential to shatter their present. Finn, arriving home unexpectedly, witnessed the kiss. The look of betrayal on his face was a knife to Steffy's heart. She tried to explain, but words failed her. Finn, his heart broken, left without a word, leaving Steffy alone with her guilt and shame. She had hit the self-destruct button on her marriage, and there was no turning back. Meanwhile, the saga of Hope Logan and Thomas Forrester took a different turn. Hope, always the beacon of morality and strength, found herself in an unexpected place of vulnerability. Thomas, once the villain in her story, had transformed. His obsessive love for her had matured into something deeper, more profound. He had changed, and slowly, Hope began to see him in a new light. Their collaboration at Forrester Creations brought them closer. Thomas's designs, inspired by Hope, spoke of a love that was both pure and passionate. The chemistry between them was undeniable, and the lines between professional and personal blurred. Hope, struggling with the distance growing between her and Liam, found solace in Thomas's presence. One evening, working late in the design studio, Hope and Thomas shared a moment of raw honesty. Thomas confessed that his feelings for her had never truly faded, but he had learned to love her selflessly. He wanted her happiness above all else, even if it meant stepping aside. This selflessness touched Hope deeply. She saw a side of Thomas she had never acknowledged before, a man capable of growth and genuine love. As days turned into weeks, Hope's heart began to shift. She found herself daydreaming about Thomas, wondering what a future with him might look like. The realization was both terrifying and exhilarating. Could Thomas be her endgame? Was it possible for someone to change so profoundly that they deserved a second chance? The culmination of these emotions came during a Forrester family event. Under the twinkling lights and surrounded by loved ones, Thomas and Hope shared a dance. It was a dance that spoke of new beginnings and endless possibilities. Liam, watching from a distance, saw the connection and realized that he had lost Hope's heart. His own betrayal with Steffy had set them all on a path of no return. In the weeks that followed, the fallout from Steffy's self-destructive actions rippled through their lives. Finn, grappling with his heartbreak, focused on his work and their children, trying to find a semblance of normalcy. Steffy, filled with regret, sought solace in therapy, hoping to understand her actions and find a way to heal.